What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It's Wednesday, November 28th, heading into week 13 of the NFL season. Billy facing the Bucs for the second time around, hoping to get back off this ugly last 3 weeks, frustrating 3 weeks.
It's been
really
very frustrating, and
that's an understatement.
Yeah,
it's been beyond frustrating. It's been underachieving, I think is the word for it.
The beginning of the year was great. We're going to the last quarter of the season. I hope we get some W's, make the playoffs. I'm ready to watch this game on Sunday. As we said, after our losses, we're going to bounce back. I think this is a team we build confidence on.
I hate having to say that like weeks in a row. I mean, because at some point it's like, are you just going to accept that maybe your team's not that good? But the thing is, these are last 2 weeks we should have won these games.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a lot of debate that. Yes, Russell Wilson led his team back. Our defense is clearly struggling. I think the injury with Dante Jackson last week, again, I said it on the post-game show. I think it was the biggest thing in that game. Graham Gano's struggles have not helped, and I'm going to stand by that point. I know a lot of people are saying there's a lot more issues with his team than Graham Gano. Yes, I realize that. The last 2 weeks, he's missed 3 kicks, and I'm going to stand by my fact that's, it definitely cost us Detroit. Last week, I mean, yes, Russell Wilson could have potentially still drove down, tied the game, sent to overtime, or got a touchdown. I realize that as well. But there's a big difference between starting out at the 20, 25-yard line in your own territory versus starting near midfield with a minute and a half to go.
Yeah, it's Graham Gano has caused the L's to stack up.
Yeah.
Yes, there's other things going on, but Graham Gano is the reason that we aren't in the W column. Yep. And that's the biggest thing. Yes, there's going to be times that the defense lets plays happen, but when you have the chance to win games, that's what kills you when you put an L in the column instead of a W.
That's just it. You're going to, I'm gonna steal Ron Rivera's thing here because it's that's been one of the most frustrating things as well. Every press conference, it seems like we missed opportunities. We've missed opportunities. Yes, damn it, Ron. We realize that if you're losing, but these missed opportunities can be addressed the next week if you get. They're going to be addressed either way. But it's nice to address them if you get the W when you have a chance to take a lead late in the game. Those are things you have to do, and Graham Gano has failed us. The Panthers did bring in some kickers this week. They worked out Chandler Cantanzaro, Sam Ficken, Matt McCrane, Caleb Sturgis. They worked out nobodies. These guys aren't going to come in and compete realistically with Graham Gano. Maybe it's just, they're trying to send a message. I get that, and I can respect that. You got to at least try to do something. The reality is the Panthers can't afford to cut Graham Gano after they just paid him this offseason. New contract. Again, I still feel like they should have kept Harrison Butker, but that's neither here nor there now. Gano had a great season last year after that competition. Maybe this does something. I hope so. But I also hope we're not in that situation come, the end of the game against the Bucs, Billy. They tried to make a surge and a little comeback last time we played them. The Panthers were able to shut it down and pull away. I think that final score was 42-28. But yeah, and this is the Bucs, but this is a big game. I mean, that's the Panthers. Another funny thing, Ron Rivera was saying how the Panthers control their destiny. You don't control your destiny in North Carolina. You need losses from other teams, a situation you don't want to be in, but you are in it, and they are going to need some losses from other teams, even if they win out from here on. That's great. I would love to see that. I think everybody, if we beat the Saints twice, what a miraculous turnaround.
If we beat the Saints and the Saints are playing the football they are now and have the whole year, that's a danger. We're a very dangerous team right now. We got to crawl before we run and walk.
Yeah, our defense has a lot of work to do. Yeah. I think that's safe to say. And the offense got away from. We talked about it. It seemed to get away from some of that creativity we saw during that big winning streak right when we went to 6-2 before going to Pittsburgh and starting this. Whatever these last 3 weeks have been, you want to call it, and they were on a roll. Now it seemed last week we saw that again, especially with the emergence and playing time more so of DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel together. Really seen, and Christian McCaffrey, got to always throw him in there, but McCaffrey's been in the game. We're talking about DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel actually getting enough snaps to register and stuff, and they've made good work with it. We saw it last week. And it's disappointing, those early red zone opportunities we just seem to throw away. Is really done away. I know how to describe it. I mean, I don't know what these jumbo sets and running McCaffrey straight up the middle. I like McCaffrey at running back, and I'm still defending that. I like it with more of the creativity. You saw it later in the game. They get a guy running jet, motioning, pre-snap motions, and then you toss it the other way. Option on an RPO in the red zone is one of the best things you can do because it slows down defenses. I mean, they're gonna have to set and hold and watch their guy. If they don't, then there's potentially a hole there to run open then. Yeah,
there's very little time for them to read a play when you do those RPOs in the red zone. They don't have the yardage to make the play because the end zone's coming. Talking about the comeback that Tampa Bay had last time, here we are, 2 games where Gano misses kicks. If it comes down to it this week, what are you going to do?
I don't know, because it's kind of funny. The Bucs were in this situation a few, last 2 years, it seems like. They drafted a kicker in the second round.
Yeah.
Saw how that turned out. Let's not do that. But no, I don't know. If it could come to that, just because I don't know where the Dante Jackson injury is. And while we're on that, let's jump into some injury news. No Devin Funchess or Chris Manhertz at practice. Curtis Samuel was there. He didn't have him and Dante Jackson both were there. Didn't have cleats or helmets. Curtis Samuel has a hamstring issue. I did see Jordan Rodriguez, the Charlotte Observer, say that he was out there running. He was fast. He looked sharp. So fingers crossed, because a hamstring injury with a speed guy is like one of the worst things you can hear. Dante Jackson had a quad bruise last week that sent him out early and really hurt the secondary there. Jackson's saying he's good. He's got his full range of motion back, and he's optimistic. The Panthers did, however, promote Lorenzo Dawes from the practice squad, and Rivera said that they are preparing him to be ready to play this week. That's obviously dependent on how Dante Jackson progresses and where they feel like. And, they were really just playing with fire, only having 4 cornerbacks active in a game last week anyway. And the other guy being Cornelder, who was really more fit for nickel, playing outside, and it burned him.
Oh, yeah.
And these receivers coming in aren't slouches. You got Mike Evans and Deshaun Jackson. Dante Jackson did a great job against Deshaun. But, last matchup,
Yeah, and Bradbury did a great job against Evans.
And then he fell off after that. Again, Bradbury, I'm so on the fence with him. There's times, I feel like he's always right there. And, the pass rush doesn't help here, but a lot of the times these QBs are getting the ball off quick because our guys are so far off.
Yep.
Adam Humphries made a living off of that against us in that last matchup. He's probably one of the biggest guys to watch. Captain Munderland brought him up today in the locker room talking to reporters, and that's big. Yeah, he's going to find those open spaces and work his way down the field with you. So yes, Lorenzo Dawes prepping to play. And obviously, Billy, we hope Dante Jackson is ready to go.
If he's not back and ready to go, this is going to be another one of those really stressful games, I believe.
Yeah, and Mo Stern jumping up here early on, calling it. He's already thrown his prediction out there as soon as we went live during the countdown, saying he's calling the Panthers 42, Bucs 14. So he's calling for the same amount of points. This game is in Tampa. It's always... Carolina always plays kind of weird in Tampa. The games are always strange. They're close. I don't know why. It's a division game, but yeah. And Jameis Winston obviously going to be playing this week as well. So, we'll see what that does. He played well last week, but it was also the 49ers. So, got to take everything with a grain of salt at some points. Another cool note, Billy. Eric Reed's $10,000 fine for unnecessary roughness against Zach Ertz, the Eagles tight end, has been rescinded by the NFL. They determined it was not unnecessary roughness because, fun fact, in that game, Zach Ertz actually got that penalty. Or was it offsetting? Did they both get it? I can't remember. I know Zach Ertz got one.
I think it was offsetting because one was on Wentz and then the next one was on Ertz.
Yeah, right. For the late hit.
Yep.
But the unnecessary roughness was on Ertz.
Yep.
But they fined Eric Reed. So props to the NFL. Look, they don't always get things right, but when they do, we got to give them some credit. They got this one right. Denoris Searcy, safety, also has been designated to return from IR after 2 concussions in 30 days earlier this season. That's good depth-wise, I guess. But you got Mike Adams and Eric Reed. Eric Reed is playing through a AC sprain in his shoulder right now. He said he's been playing through it. He continues to plan to play through it. So Mike Adams didn't practice today. That may have been a vet day.
And for him to return 2 concussions in 30 days, that's
scary, man.
That is really scary, and that is life altering. If he gets a third one, you can't put him back on the field
in the same season.
Season,
and Rivera and that coaching staff hasn't typically played around with those things. You saw it with Luke Kuechly when it happened to him. They don't typically play with that stuff. And
even if he is designated to return, he may not see. He won't see the field. He may not see the field at all.
Yeah. So that's good news for the safety depth, but you still got to worry about outside of Dante Jackson and James Bradbury at this point. I really hope Dante Jackson's being a quad bruise. That's a good sign considering what he was grabbing that leg, because I didn't see it on the replay when they showed it on the broadcast last week. 89 on YouTube Live saying that skinny white boy receiver from the Bucks is going to kill us. Talking about Adam Humphries. Yeah. Funny stuff. Mo Stern on YouTube Live. I would love if Ron told his team we're not letting up until we score. Until 4 scores. We're not used to playing 4 quarters of football. That's why we keep sucking in 1 or 2 quarters of the game. Well, and do we really? I'm not sure I buy that any coach doesn't want to score on every possession of the game. What? You look like you might disagree. Look, I'm not. Go ahead.
The play calling, sometimes it feels like they don't want to score.
Yes, you're absolutely right there. I stand corrected on that point.
Okay. I watch a little bit.
That's not to say they don't want to score off that.
Outside
play.
of the Panthers, I watch a little bit of NFL games when we get off the show and Monday nights or Thursday. But we seem like to be the only team to ever watch that just full acceleration and we're up by a touchdown. Let's just take the foot off the gas.
And it definitely feels that way.
And just it's ridiculous. It feels like they don't want to score sometimes. Maybe they like it. They like to have these close games. They like to have these close to 500 seasons, and we had a winning season. We can stick around another one. I honestly don't feel like they like to score sometimes.
Well, it definitely does feel that way in this day and age. We talked about kind of on the post game show that the NFL is very offensive driven right now, and it is much harder for defenses to keep up the way they have. But that's Ron Rivera's an old school guy. That's the philosophy he's built around. He did do a good job going out and getting Norv, and Norv has done a good job of getting these versatile playmakers, finding ways to get them the ball and fun misdirection ideas, and that's worked at times. And, you would think 27, 30 points with, the defense of Panthers past years would work. That defense isn't here anymore.
But, Norv is 76 years old or something like that, and he can get out of the old mindset and he can draw these plays up. But why can Ron not allow this team to go full blast?
Take off.
Why?
He's so close.
He's stuck in the old ways, and it's so annoying. The days of 6 to 7 point games and 7 to 10 are gone. It's offense game. It's who can score the most.
And that's fastest. Really always been the point of the game, is who can score more points.
But it used to be, there used to be stops.
Right,
There's no more stops.
Right. I'm just saying, though, if the point of the game is who can score the most, score as many as you can. Yep. Unless you're blowing a team out with 5 minutes and you're up 35 points, there's no reason to let up.
Other teams do it. They're blowing people out. They onside kick it. I would love to see that.
Yep. I think Sean Payton was quoted after one game, and I hate Sean Payton, but he was quoted after one game saying, after people were kind of criticizing him for throwing points on top, of a big lead or whatever in a game, and I can't remember which game it was, but he said, in the NFL, when you're up 21 points with 7 minutes, the game is far from over.
Yep.
And it was something along those lines. It was the fourth quarter, was 7 minutes left, and they were up big. And he said, "We're going for 6 there, and we're passing the ball. We got Drew Brees, which understandably, he's doing pretty well this year if you haven't noticed, especially with that run game. But yeah, I I feel like this offense right now, especially with what we saw last week, and yes, I agree, this offense could be better under maybe a younger, more offensive-minded, new age coach. I don't disagree with that at all. I'm just saying right now, I think this offense can put up points and score with people if they let it.
Yeah.
What we saw last week early on, after driving the ball down the field, 2-3 drives with ease, creativity, it was beautiful. And then we got in the red zone. We're like, where the Panthers have actually normally been pretty good this season, by the way, with Cam Newton. Going into last week, had the best QBR in the red zone, and then they took the ball out of his hands for 3 straight drives. And then running it was like 3 points on 3 drives or 2 drives, whatever it was. It's not going to win you football games.
No. And I think going back to seeing what they can do with the offense, I read a quote today that Ron said it wasn't CMC figuring out the game. It was us figuring out CMC. And you can see it over the last 5 weeks. 4 weeks, he has 9 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they've unleashed him. They're using him to his ability. This is what we wanted to see last year. We didn't see it at the beginning, and now they're seeing, okay, he's able to. Now let's run the offense like we want to. And I think they're finally coming around. It's just in week 13.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Rivera was talking about. He said, I think we as coaches had to learn how to use Christian, not him have to adapt to the NFL. And, that, along with some of Rivera's other quotes this last 2 weeks, has really fired up fans. Talking about, I prefer 7-6 games. That's not what people want to hear right now. I don't want to hear that. I don't think anybody wants to hear that in a league where people are dropping 35 points with ease. And then you're going to come out here, and at least he's admitting this at this point. Like earlier this week, he said maybe it's we as coaches not doing what we need to do. Look, at least he's giving some semblance and starting to take some accountability, I guess. But then you're going to come out and say we didn't know. And look, props again. Look, number one, he went out and got Christian McCaffrey, and he stated he wanted to evolve this offense with Cam Newton. He went out, he got Christian McCaffrey. Marty Hurney helped him get DJ Moore. They got Curtis Samuel in the same draft with McCaffrey. And then they went out and got a different offensive coordinator who has kept some of the same concepts and stuff of Mike Shula, but has switched some of them up, obviously, as well. And one of the biggest things we talked about was situational play calling early in the season when they were winning. That disappeared a couple weeks back, and as soon as it looked like it was back against Seattle, it disappeared in the red zone.
Yeah. And I don't. It's taking the foot off the gas too soon, and it's something we've done, and I just don't. I don't know. I mean, and of course we went for it on 4th down. I was happy with that. We were back to going, doing what we've done.
Yeah,
gambling, and somehow the refs are blind. Didn't work out, and I think that killed our momentum for a little bit.
And then you won't let Gano kick an extra point, but you let him kick a 53-yarder to put you ahead late in the game. Yes, I can understand people arguing that. I mean, but I can also understand wanting to take a 3-point lead and kick on the ball. But on, it was 4th and 4. I mean, if you're going to miss a field goal and give him the ball there, you can go for the 4th down and give him the ball there. Especially when your quarterback has been red hot the last 2 weeks. So I don't know. Cam Newton in his presser day talking about, how does he feel this season? Does he feel like he's playing the best football of his career? And Cam said he's playing the best he ever has at the QB spot. And
I did like the follow-up question after that. Have you ever felt this way before? And of course the answer was yes.
Yes.
So it took a little bit away from this year, but his numbers are better than 2015.
Right.
And he said it would feel better if we won.
Right, exactly.
But the losses make it hard to swallow.
And that's exactly right. He said that they said, have you ever felt this way before at Auburn or in your MVP season? And he said, yeah. He said, absolutely. He said, the only thing that sucks right now is then the wins were there.
Yep.
He said, so it felt good. He said, now it just feels like nothing. I mean, and Cam today was, very enlightening with all this going on. It was really good to see, actually. It makes you feel better with everything that's been going on going into the next game that, these guys aren't giving up yet. Like this is far from done. And the reality is things could be so much worse than what the Carolina Panthers got going on right now.
Yeah.
This sucks. But 6-5, yes, they're on a down skid right now. The defense is so questionable. The offense has had some questionable play calling, and even game clock management has been questionable at times. But we could be in a much worse situation right now.
Yep.
And then Ron Rivera backed Cam Newton's statement, talking about best play of the year, and he said the difference between now and his MVP season is the consistency. You're not getting, which this is very true from Ron, and I agree, is you're not getting the high highs and you're not getting the low lows, where when Cam was, red hot, you're not messing with him. Like, he would have two games in a row where you weren't going to do anything with him, and then he'd just fall off the face of the earth. Cam is very consistent this year, and that's what Ron said. He said, when your quarterback's playing this consistent, we should be winning games. And, that's absolutely right. Over the last 4 games, actually, everybody's always talked about completion percentage over the last few years ever since Cam came in the league, really. Yep. And this is something, myself anyway, and I've seen some others talk about it, that, completion percentage isn't the end-all, be-all of things. But because over the last 4 weeks, listen to this stat. I put this out on Twitter for some people, and in case you didn't see it, over the last 4 games, Cam Newton's completion percentage was 76.5%. Over Drew Brees' last 4 games, his is 74.7%. The record for Cam Newton over those 4 games, 1-3. Drew Brees, 4-0. This whole perception, yes, it's definitely a good stat if when things are going well, it's going to help your team, obviously. Cam's we've been talking about it all season. He's having one of his career years.
Yep.
But this stat means nothing as far as winning.
It doesn't. It doesn't put a win in the column.
You still have to have good defensive play.
Yep.
You still have, everything has to be going right. You still have to have, most of the time you're still going to have a decent run game and stuff. This is really what Cam should have been doing. I feel like he's had the potential to be doing all this time under the right circumstances with weapons. He hasn't always had offensive line, which this still isn't his best, but they have been a nice surprise this season.
They have. That was our biggest worry coming into the season, and it's worked out so far.
Yeah.
Out of a couple key letdowns in games that they've just turned into turnstiles, but they've given the protection, and he's been able to be a pocket passer, which is weird, but it's showing in his percentages, and the quick passes and stuff that we're getting out of the backfield, or the speed that we finally held on the field, is working out.
Yeah. And you're seeing it night and day. I think, Gil Brandt actually put out an article today talking about guys that got to get paid and next season, and Devin Funchess was brought up, and he said they can't afford to pay him unless he goes on a real cheap deal. And I completely agree. I think right now, you've seen last week what this offense can do with those speedier guys. Look, a tall, bigger receiver is great if he can create separation. Otherwise, I don't know. Give me the separation.
Yeah.
With guys like Curtis Samuel, for instance. DJ Moore is still learning how to, he's still getting. I think Charles Davis said it best last week's game, actually. He said he doesn't have a PhD in route running, but he's in graduate school right now. And I think that's sums it up pretty much for him. But he's getting the job done, and when he gets the ball in his hands, he's special.
Yeah.
So all that's coming to fruition, but you're still losing games. And the Detroit game's the most frustrating one to me.
Yes.
Seattle's still a good team. That's why that one's. It sucks the way it happened because we should have won that game, but it's not as bad as losing to the Lions by 1 point when you should have had it. So I don't know, but Billy, we need to get into some Bucks Panthers preview talk, I guess. But so talking about the defense a little bit, since we were hitting on them, the Panthers held Fitzpatrick to 219 passing yards through the air on their first meeting, which, really the Panthers, Ryan Fitzpatrick was just bad the last game.
He was, and this was the number 1 passing offense coming into the game at that point. But this started his downfall for Jameis Winston to make his comeback.
Yeah, that's right.
So his Fitz magic went away.
Mm-hmm.
Jameis got his chance. Jameis went back to the bench. Jameis came back on the field. I'm high on this Bucks offense just because I think they're going to throw the ball a lot and they're going to burn us a couple of times. That's the only thing. I think if we can keep them contained, we'll be fine. But it's going to be those big plays, a 53-yard miss, a 4th and 3 in the end zone, like that's going to be those that kill us.
Yep. And I think you hit the nail on the head with the big plays. Those are the ones that killed us against Seattle, really. I mean, in the end, that's what it was. Dirk Cutter on his quarterback situation actually was asked today about that, and if it was the instability at the quarterback situation. He said, I don't think we have instability. I think we have more than one guy that's shown he can play at this level. Does he realize his team has the highest interception percentage right now from quarterbacks? I'm not sure. The Tampa Bay Bucks, between Ryan Fitzpatrick and Jameis Winston, have thrown more interceptions than the rest of the NFC South QBs combined. That's a lot. And that's 2 quarterbacks, but that's still a lot.
That's a lot, but the way they play the game, and they've won a couple. They put up a lot of points and lost, getting outscored in the race to whoever can have the most at the end. But they still score a lot. And
this team beat the Saints in week 1.
In week 1.
Yeah.
That was the crazy part. Week 1 in our post game, we were like, oh wow.
Yeah.
Like the Bucks, who we weren't worried about, just slaughtered the Saints. And then it was just downhill.
Mm-hmm. And it has been ever since. And like I said, this week, Jameis Winston will be playing. Dirk Cutter on the Panthers offensive side of things, saying that they've had the best misdirection game that he's seen, throughout the season. Obviously, they played him already once, so he saw it firsthand there, and the Panthers ate him alive with it. That was, again, right before it seemed we just went away from all that for some reason. But
this is going to be a different offense if Funchess doesn't play than they did see in the first matchup.
Yep.
If Funchess plays, then it might be a little bit of the same, but if they rotate him in and keep that speed on the field, this would be a totally different team that the Bucs are going to have a hard time contending with the speed.
Right. So. And I mentioned earlier, Devin Funchess missed practice today. It wasn't necessarily injury related. He was out for personal reasons. He's expecting a kid any day now, and it was apparently related to that is why he wasn't there. So I don't want anybody thinking like, oh, he's not practicing because his back's still hurt. But Rivera said he's going to, they got to see how he goes this week, the rest of the week. So,
and I thought it was weird in the press conference that Cam called it a procedure.
Yeah, because I thought it was something like he was having surgery on his back or something before they actually announced it was, a personal matter like that. Because he was like, by the way, I hope Fun's procedure is going well. And I was like, procedure? Damn, is this guy having back surgery or something? Like, because that escalated quickly. But no, apparently it's not injury related. Trill on YouTube Live, Funchess, Bradbury, and Poe have to go. I don't know if you were trying to rhyme there, but it worked. Yeah, Don Terry Poe has been a big disappointment. The defensive line as a whole really has been a huge disappointment. Mario Addison is on pace to get another 11 sacks. I think he's at 7.5 right now. Quiet 7.5, it seems. But I've said it all season. I feel like the pass rush, along with some of how they run that defense, has been the biggest issue for the Panthers defense. But at the same time, quarterbacks are able to get the ball out quick because we got guys playing 10, 12 yards off the receivers. I mean, yeah, quarterbacks can get rid of it quick, even if you are getting pressures on them. And I mentioned before, Panthers were top 10 in pressures. But pressures and sacks are 2 different things.
Pressure can still get the ball out.
Yep. And if you're playing 12, and that's what it doesn't make sense is like Dante Jackson excels in press, and they have used him some in there. I think that's one of the reasons they drafted the kid. And Bradbury excels and that aspect of things too. What Bradbury doesn't do, he got torched by David Moore against Seattle.
Yep.
You're having to sit there and wait, and if you're taking a gamble like he did, thinking he was going inside to play the sticks, and he doubled up, that's going to kill you every time. I don't know. I'm no defensive coordinator, but a lot of us all seem to agree that just doesn't work. Panther Fan 13 on YouTube Live. Here they come, Billy. They're coming. Tripp, who would you want to see hired when Ron is fired? Look, right now, I guess I kind of have to answer this question. I said it on the post game last week. I want an offensive minded coach. I don't know. I haven't looked at that right now because right now that's not. I'm telling you, if Ron's getting fired, I don't see it being this year unless he completely just bombs these next 2 games. Maybe then, but even then, I don't know if I even see that happening. And he might not be fired after the year.
I think it's hard to fire him. Like, I don't. I just think it's hard to fire him at this point. If the
In the season?
At the end of the season, I think if we lose out, he has a real good chance. But if we win some of these games and even miss the playoffs, I still don't think he gets fired.
If he misses the playoffs, I think he's I think he's already in a hot seat. But if he misses the playoffs, I think his seat's scorching.
Yeah, but who would?
And I'm not talking for Norv Turner to take over.
And that would be who's out there. That would be something that the team would have to look at. Who could we bring in that would be better? But if he misses the playoffs, I still don't think he's terminated. I think he's on a real hot seat. It's scorching, but he still has a chance. We're 3 years out of a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean,
but see, here's the thing, and this is what some people believe and are thinking, and I kind of agree with this sentiment in a way, is have the Panthers gone as far as they can with Ron Rivera? I think that's fair to say. I mean, Rivera led them to he coached the team. I'm not gonna say he himself led them, but he coached the team that went to the Super Bowl on a 15-1 regular season, had a MVP quarterback, and ultimately lost that Super Bowl. But coaching plays a part in that. And remember, in that season, we saw a lot of these same things that frustrate us every other year with Rivera. And this team is, the offense is blowing, the defense is great, it's blowing, well, not this year necessarily, but the defense is stopping guys, getting turnover, and the offense is blowing the score up, and then they let teams right back in it. That year, as I've said before, with Rivera, we won the close games. When we win the close games, we're having good seasons.
Yeah.
This year, we're not doing that. And I don't know that, this is week 13 now. I don't know how much of this defense is going to change. I hope it can get better. I'm holding out faith because I really feel like, at the end of this week, after this week is over, I'll say, not the end of this week, but after this week's slate of games, the Panthers are going to beat the Buccaneers. Washington's going to lose. Minnesota's going to lose, and we're going to be right back in the playoff picture. And at that point, Carolina will again, kind of have control over what can happen the rest of the way. Yes, they still have to play the Saints twice. I understand that. I saw somebody up here, and a few people actually still believe this, even with Carolina's struggles, that the Panthers are going to beat the Saints at home on Monday Night Football.
I would love to see that.
I would too, because Billy and I are going to be there, guys, and I'm here to tell you right now, I would really prefer to see that for the, get my money's worth and not see this thing fall down. But the fact of the matter is, this team is still close. I know everybody's pissed off and frustrated. Look, I'm just as frustrated as anybody else. But you can scream fire Ron Rivera all you want right now. It's not happening right now.
Yep.
Everybody's saying bomb for a draft pick. I'm not on that train. Not yet. And yes, I agree. The Saints and the Rams right now are just dominating in NFC. And yes, they have strong chances to play each other for an NFC championship if it comes to that in the playoffs. But you got to get there.
Yep.
You don't know what's going to happen. The Saints, I thought the Saints were going to the Super Bowl last year, and the Minnesota Miracle happened.
Yeah. That's why we play the game.
Exactly. Anything can happen. You have to get there. 6 Inc. on YouTube Live, Saints fans saying, "You're not alone. It's been 8 years since we won the Super Bowl, and we only won one playoff game, and that was last year." And who did they keep that entire time? Sean Payton. And now, granted, Sean Payton he's a very good offensive-minded head coach. They had some bad defenses through those years. They've addressed those situations, but I'm not here to talk about how good the Saints are. I hate the Saints. Sorry, 6 Inc. But we've got, and it's like Greg Olson and Cam both have said, we can't pick who we're going to win on this schedule.
Yep.
Right now, we got Tampa Bay, and we've got to focus on that, and we've got to win against Tampa Bay and just get one. Greg Olson was more frustrated than I've ever seen him in the postgame last week, really the last 2 weeks. And that's exactly what he said. He said, y'all keep talking about, playoffs and winning X amount of games the rest of the way. He said, we just got to win one damn game. That's I feel so true. But this is the perfect time for that to happen.
And I feel like to win this game and to blow up and win it big, that it would be the confidence that takes us to that level where we could go on a run. I don't see us beating the Saints twice. We could beat them on Monday night.
Yeah.
We're not going to beat them in New Orleans.
Anything can happen.
But anything can happen. Shoot, injuries could happen.
Yeah.
Not
that we hope injuries.
Not that we hope. Yeah,
right.
Not that we hope. But look at our team. Our team has been through injuries over the year.
Yep.
who was our number one wide receiver for a while? Ted Ginn.
Oh yeah, Ted Ginn. Yeah.
I mean, look where we were,
and that turned out okay for 2015.
Yeah,
but and another thing a lot of people are hoping for, Billy, and I'd like to know your opinion on this, is a lot of people are hoping the Saints just win out. That way, maybe they sit everybody on the final game of the season. I don't think they do that.
Sean Payton doesn't do that.
Yeah,
Sean Payton,
especially against a division rival like the Panthers.
We were sweep 3 times last year.
Yeah, we got beat all 3 times.
And we beat the first time. He wants to beat us 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
He's not gonna sit. He's too confident. Yeah. If you look last week, they could sit their starters and some no name could blow us up. I mean, because look at the people that caught the ball for them last week. It was a bunch of nobodies.
And they caught touchdowns. I didn't catch a lot. They did catch the touchdowns, but that's just, again, that's play calling in the red zone and creativity. But this defense last year, the Panthers went into that wild card game against the Saints last year. We're not getting into playoff talk. We got to win one damn game. I don't want to talk about last year. I don't want to talk about playoffs this year. We got to beat the Bucs. That's all that matters. The defense has got to bounce back, and that's really all there is to it. The offense has got to keep things. Red zone's got to get better. There's several things that have to improve next week, and the clock management and the kicking. God, listen to all this stuff we're rambling off here. It's terrible, right? It's just absolutely awful. But like Greg and Cam said, you got to win one game first, and this is a good opportunity to do that. I thought the Lions was, and they really should have won that game, but coulda, woulda, shoulda. If it were a fifth, we'd all be drunk. So, but anyway, Billy, let's get to some fantasy talk right now before I get depressed.
All right, this week we have Cam with 22.22.
I'm gonna take the over,
and I'm gonna go the over.
This is fantasy football projections, by the way, guys.
Full point
players,
PPR.
Fantasy football projections for players this week for the Panthers and Bucks. Full point PPR, by the way.
CMC 25 point. That is stout. That is. And I said this at the beginning of the year, and he wasn't hitting those projections, but that is 25.74 points in fantasy football. That is Todd Gurley. That's Le'Veon Bell. He's in another stratosphere when it comes to a running back in the league right now.
And it's really ridiculous. And, I've been taking under, and I'm going to take it again, only because it's been working. Yeah. And I'm like kind of superstitious like that. But last week, dude, holy shit.
Yeah, it was nice.
That was ridiculous.
Yeah. Moore, 14.15. I'm going to go with the over. It's because he's going to get a touchdown.
Yeah, I'll take the over there.
Olsen at 10.35. Last week, he really wasn't involved.
Nope.
I feel like
he hasn't been involved.
He hasn't been, but I feel like this will be the week that he gets more involved. He'll get some more balls. I'm going to go with the over.
10.35 projection. I'm taking the under. He hasn't been doing a lot. I hope I'm wrong.
Winston, 21.18, and I told you this week that I may start him against our defense over Aaron Rodgers in a league where I must win to make the playoffs. And it's just because he's going to throw the ball a lot. He's going to throw some picks, but I feel like they're going to get in the end zone, and I'm going to go with over.
Yeah, I'm taking the over, unfortunately. This secondary and defense hasn't given me much reason to choose otherwise.
Evans is 17.62. I'm going to go with the over this time. Even though he had one catch for 6 yards last time, I don't think we do it again.
I'm taking the under.
Under?
I'm going to take the under. I think he might get a touchdown, but I don't know if he's going to get a lot of yards. Hopefully, anyway.
Barber, 11.04. I'm going to go with over.
Yeah, he'd get a touchdown.
And Cameron Brate, 9.57.
Under.
I'm going to go with the over.
Yeah, we have sucked against tight ends, but where's Deshaun Jackson, man?
Man, he's nobody.
Actually, he's still been kind of limited in practice this week, so that's going to be something else to watch for them moving forward. Billy, bounce back player side of the ball, coaching staff.
This week is a secondary, and I mean, if Dante Jackson comes back, it's not a bounce back for him. It is for if he does go out, if he's limited, it's for Corn Elder to learn how to turn his head around and have.
I think Lorenzo Dawes will be in that situation now, though. I don't think Corn's going back out there.
Whoever's out there learns to turn their head, and we don't know.
Yeah,
we won't know.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, we don't know. We'll see how it goes. Lorenzo Dawes did have a good training camp. My bounce back is the win column because that's the only damn thing that matters right now. I don't care how it gets done. This team needs a win. Yes, I would love for it to be a full complementary football game on both sides, defense and offense, and coaching. And I hope that's the case. But right now, they just need something to start getting some mojo rolling back and get a damn win on the road. This is the biggest thing. Panthers are 1-4 on the road. 1-4. They're 3-3 now against 500 or better teams, and they're 3-2 against below 500 teams this season. You got to win on the road in the NFL. This could be you could use this maybe. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen the rest of the season, but if the Panthers lose this game, I'm going to go ahead and tell you they're out of the playoffs. That's it. I can't pick them anymore. I'm already terrified. I don't mean to jump ahead on the games again. But I'm already terrified about this Cleveland game because a lot of people are picking it, and that offense right now is humming, and it's on the road. That's the biggest thing.
It's funny because, 4 weeks ago, we called that the trap game on our schedule.
Yeah.
Not knowing that we'd lose 3 in a row.
Exactly.
And now the Browns...
Yeah, 3 in a row, yes.
Now the Browns are... They got somebody they trust in the locker room that calls the right plays. They are...
dangerous.
Yeah, I think the time of seeing the Browns lose a bunch is going to start ending.
And they got a pretty good defensive end over there by the name of Myles Garrett. But again, get the win here first. Just focus on this week. We'll try to. It's hard not to look ahead. NFC South standings right now. Saints can clinch NFC South division with a win and a Carolina loss or tie this week. So Carolina loses, the division's over. Actually, we know the division is pretty much out of. We don't have a shot at that. Yep. At this point, it's focus on winning and getting a wild card. That's all there is to it. It's that simple. Panthers, obviously 6-5. Falcons and Bucks are out of everything. They're 4-7. They will be trying to play spoiler. You can believe the Bucks are going to pull out every stop they can this week. Fake punts, fake field goals, whatever it takes. Going for it every fourth down. They're going to try whatever they can to beat the Panthers this week for morale. Dirk Cutter is probably still, he's probably playing for his coaching job at this point too. So, I mean, you don't know what's going to happen. The Panthers have to come out and play a complete game, both sides of the ball.
Pat Widener says his bounce back is the defensive line, 5 sacks.
I hope to see that.
I would love to see the defensive line get pressure and get some sacks this week.
I'm pretty sure last time they played the Bucks, they had 5 sacks. If I'm not mistaken, no, maybe it wasn't 5. They had quite a few though, and they also had an interception. They may have had 2. But I know Eric Reed got his first.
Yeah, but we're playing a different quarterback. That's a little bit more mobile than old Fitz Tragic.
Yes, that's true. And this was actually the last game. The last game the Panthers defense forced a turnover was against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They have not forced one the last 3 weeks, and the offense has turned the ball over the last 3 weeks, and all of those have been losses. And, Cam has had a few games this year. Obviously, he's thrown some interceptions. His ratio is pretty good. He's still having a great year. Obviously, this is not knocking Cam. But in the games where Cam has thrown an interception, they have lost. Last 3 weeks, he's had 1 pick. The Lions game was, whatever. And I'm not saying this is directly, related. Some of them, they are bad decisions. Last week was a bad decision.
Bad decision, yep.
And the Seahawks were able to score off that. Kind of changes things there. The Lions one was late in the first half, going for it on a late drive, didn't affect anything, didn't impact anything. Pittsburgh, obviously, through the pick 6, that was huge momentum-wise on the road.
Oh, yeah.
So 3 interceptions, 1 each of the last 3 weeks, all losses. Go back to the Redskins, had an interception, the Panthers lost. Go back to the Falcons week 2, had an interception, the Panthers lost by a score. All of these losses have been by 1 score. That's what makes this so damn frustrating.
Yep. And
the Panthers have to protect the ball at all costs, and they need to force turnovers. This defense has to force a turnover. We talk about it before. One of the easiest things to know about football is if your team can force turnovers and get turnovers, it's going to improve your chances of winning considerably. Yep. So that's going to be the big key for the Panthers this week. Can they force the turnovers and protect the football? I think they can. Like I said, Tampa Bay's dangerous right now just because they're going to be playing spoiler, and they're looking to win at home.
Yep.
It's going to be dangerous. Billy, what's your prediction? Y'all drop y'all's predictions in the comments. Go ahead and like and follow us. Share all this stuff on Facebook and Twitter, Periscope, whatever. And on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for us. Billy, what you got predictions?
I have 34-24 Panthers.
34-24 Panthers. Yeah, I'm gonna go 31-20, 31-24. I'm gonna stick with the 24 there. So we're both picking the Panthers to win. Great. I'll never bounce back.
Hey, you were ahead for weeks, and I was like, I'm never gonna catch up. And
well, I only went against you last week because I was trying to separate us again, and I said it would be a field goal game. I did say that. I just picked Graham Gano to actually make that one.
For what we're talking about, guys. I'm 8-3 picking the games this year, and Tripp is 7-4.
Thanks, Graham Gano.
I've been right on more losses than Tripp has.
So as long as Billy's picking us, we've been winning. Except for all of them except. So I don't know. That's it. What are y'all's? Let's see if y'all are dropping some in here. 16 Panthers 45. Effineers 21. Thank you, 16. That's a Saints fan, by the way, picking the Panthers. I mean, obviously, the Panthers should win this game. There's no doubting that. Eyes of Capricorn 28-17 Panthers. Of course, they should have won games in the past few weeks. Damn it, this is frustrating. Senile on YouTube. Don't know the score, but I feel like we'll screw up somehow. All right. Yeah, that's depressing. Safara on YouTube Live 32-27 Carolina. I'm liking those.
89 J Stubbs with the troll of 7-6 Panthers.
Oh my God, dude. It would be the most hype Ron Rivera press conference ever. If we won 7-6.
He would love it. He'd be like, this is my football. This is my game.
We didn't miss any opportunities. Yeah. No missed opportunities. Hashtag. Most earned on YouTube Live saying Redskins losing at least 3 the rest of the way. Seattle's losing to at least Minnesota and Kansas City. May even drop one to San Fran or Arizona. I don't know about that. I do believe, though, the Redskins are going to drop a few. The Vikings are going to drop a few and that should keep the Panthers in the race. But how the Panthers play obviously determines that. This isn't like we've been getting blown out the last few weeks. Yep. It's been frustrating. But these things should be fixable, is what you would think, outside of, the defensive pass rush. But the coaching things that we've talked about and been so frustrated with mainly are fixable.
Yep.
You saw Norv adjust to it later in the game last week. A little too late, perhaps, obviously. But hopefully they come out firing and they don't let up. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm getting my hopes up for that, because until it happens, I'm not going to believe it. We'll see.
Pat Widener has the Panthers 35, Bucks 28. So we're all hoping for a bunch of touchdowns this week.
Well, both of these defenses haven't played well, so passing game for both should be there. Anyway, guys, like I said, y'all like and follow us on Facebook, on Twitter if you're watching there. Go ahead and subscribe to us. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube if you're watching. Yes, we welcome opposing fans too. We talk about it. We try to be honest and real, both sides. Even if you're division rival fans, we don't have to like your team, but I guess I can try to respect some of your opinions if they're logical anyway.
Yeah.
But thank you guys for joining us. We'll be right here live, hopefully talking about a win in what's felt like 10 years for the Panthers on Sunday after the Bucs game. Billy, anything else you got?
Hopefully we're bring some positivity on the next show on Sunday after a win.
Look, the show, even if we win, isn't going to be. It can't be too positive right now. We're going to keep it that positive. I'm going to try to, even if they win, because obviously they're going to be right back in things. Kind of keep staying close, but got a lot of work to do. I hope they start it. I hope they get started on it this week. But for Panthers Source Live Show, I'm Tripp Morgan.
Billy Harless.
Y'all keep pounding, and we will see you Sunday after the game. Be sure to hit all the notification bells so you can know when we go live. See ya.